Hello and welcome to Resident Mind. Today I'd like to talk about something that's been bothering me for a while, and it just seems to be getting worse. It seems as if society is losing its desire to help one another. So many people can watch somebody that obviously needs help, and they'll just choose to turn their head and walk the other way. It's really been bothering me. And to illustrate this, I'm going to share some stories that I've seen in my own life, things that I've observed, and where I think it's going. And when I tell you these stories, I hope you ask yourself a few questions. Is this relatable? Are these things happening in your area, and do you think it's getting worse? So the first story I want to share with you happened about 2 weeks ago. And to put this into perspective, I live in northern Wisconsin, and it's winter right now, and it's cold, and it's miserable. I got a bunch of snow. And about 2 weeks ago, I'm heading towards our local Walmart. And when the snow plows come through, they throw all that snow up onto the sidewalks, and it gets rather deep sometimes. And this day I'm driving down the road, and way up ahead I could see somebody struggling through that snow. And when I got closer, I could see that it was a woman, and she'd obviously just come from Walmart. She had a Walmart bag in one hand. She had a big artificial Christmas tree in a box in the other, and she's really struggling through the snow, and this big box was really awkward. And when I got close to her, she fell down in the snow. And when she fell in the snow, a bunch of the things in her Walmart bag spilt out all over in the snow. And that day, the weather, it was sort of a mix. It was a little bit of rain, a little bit of snow, and she was soaking wet, and she just looked so miserable. So I felt bad, and I thought, I'm going to turn around and see if she needs a hand. So I turned my car around, and as I'm driving back, I'm thinking to myself, boy, I hope this isn't make her uncomfortable. I mean, she has no idea who I am, but I thought, I'm going to offer anyway. So I pulled into this parking lot that was right before where she was going to be walking, and I just rolled down my window, and I said, do you need a hand? And you look pretty miserable. And she was super nice, really polite. And she said, no, I don't have very far to go. And she said, well, I like the exercise anyway. And I'm like, are you sure? Because you look really miserable. And she thanked me again, and she said, no, it's fine. So I said, okay, and I wasn't going to push, right? So I rolled up my window, and that was that. But I started thinking to myself, what a sad commentary of society. Here's somebody that's soaking wet that obviously could use a hand, right? And she couldn't even accept the help that was being offered because of the fear that could happen, of what could happen. I totally understand, that she has no idea who I am. So kudos to her, keep herself safe. But what a sad commentary, right? And then I was going to pull out of that parking lot and head on my way. And I'm just waiting for the traffic to clear up a little bit. And I looked over, and she fell down in the snow again. And she was wearing earbuds, probably listening to music or something. And her earbuds fell out, and she found one, but she's digging through the snow. She couldn't find the other. And I don't know, I just felt so bad for her. But as I sat there waiting for that traffic to clear up, I couldn't help but just ask myself some questions. Just realize some things. Like how many of these people that are just whipping by in their cars and trucks, how many people didn't even care? Maybe they've seen her in the snow struggling, and they just don't care. It doesn't even enter their mind that maybe she could use some help. There might be even some people that are laughing at her. You know how society is. Somebody falls down in the snow, and some people think that's funny. And then there's other people probably like me that wanted to help, but then they're like, I don't know. That might be kind of creepy. She doesn't know who I am. How is that going to be perceived? So they decide, no, heck with it. I'm just going to keep going. Again, it's just a sad commentary on society, that, someone that needs help can't accept the help that's offered. And then the people that want to help, but then don't offer because of how it might be perceived. So, just sad. Then the second thing that happened recently was about a day or two after that. And my son and I, we were going to go do some last minute Christmas shopping, and we got up early one morning, and I had to stop at the gas station. And it's really cold again, the wind was just howling, and it's one of those real damp days where the cold is just kind of cutting through you, and it was really uncomfortable. So I'm sitting there pumping my gas, and a car pulls up, and this girl gets out of the car, and she starts pumping her gas, and I looked over, and she looked at me, and she's doing this, and it was cold. But then I noticed in the passenger seat of her car, I don't know if it was her boyfriend or husband or whatever, but he's sitting there playing around on his phone. And the first thing that came to my mind was like, what is he doing? Why doesn't he get out and pump the gas for her, right? But then I thought, I don't know his story. Maybe he's got a broken leg or something. Maybe he's sick. Maybe there's a family emergency. He's texting somebody something. So I have to give him a little slack because I don't know his story. But The problem is this is not an isolated incident. I see this time and time and time again, this horrible, miserable weather. And then a girl gets out and she has to pump her own gas, and her husband or boyfriend are sitting in the car playing on their phone. Just recently I seen that again, and as soon as she got done pumping the gas, he jumps out of the car and they both run in to get snacks and things from the gas station. And it's hard for me to see that and not wonder, like, what is the matter with this person? What is the matter with that man that he doesn't get out and pump the gas for her? Now, some people might think this is kind of chauvinist, like women can pump their own gas. Well, of course they can. But, if you're there, why don't you help? And that's where I'm going with this. These are real, I guess, minor things, right? But these minor things lead to bigger things. And I'm going to illustrate that in a moment. You're going to see where this is headed. But, I see things like this all the time. Just recently I was at the grocery store. Again, we're in the winter climate up here, right? So when you're pushing your shopping carts through the parking lot, it's kind of hard sometimes with all the snow and the slop, And I can't tell you how many times I've seen women pushing their shopping carts through the snow, obviously struggling, and their boyfriends or husband are walking right alongside them and not even helping. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that where they get to their car and the guy jumps into the car and lets the wife or the girlfriend load the groceries into the car. Doesn't even help, doesn't even bring the cart to the cart rack. It's one of the things is, like, if you can't even help the people that are close to you with these small things, how are you going to help people that you don't know with large things? I mean, that's where we're headed. And this is really bothering me lately. Just seeing this kind of nosedive that our society is taking. I know these are little examples that maybe don't mean a lot to a lot of you, but to me, it just seems like we're starting to kind of fall apart a little bit. And even recently, I was at my office, and I'm in a large office building that a bunch of businesses are in, and I hold the door open for women when they're coming and going if I'm there, and so many people, so many women tell me, boy, it's been years since somebody held the door open for me, and they're almost shocked that it's happening. And I just think to myself, what is going on? That was so normal back in the day, and now it's becoming unusual, right? Again, if we can't help people with the small things, the little insignificant things, if we can't help people with that, how are we going to help strangers with large things? And that leads me to the next story. My son and I, we were watching some YouTube videos one night, just flipping around. And there was this video that came on, and there was a snowstorm or ice storm in another state. And I guess I have a little bit of a theme going on here with winter and snow and ice. But anyway, there was this YouTube video, and it was an ice storm that hit the state. And there was this big, long, tall hill with a road coming down it. And there was cars sliding down this hill. They were completely out of control. They had no traction. They weren't moving very fast. Nobody was going to get hurt or killed. But, the first car slides down this hill, and they go into the ditch at the bottom. And then another car comes down, slides down, and smashes into the first one. And it was just car after car after car. And they're all smashing and piling up at the bottom of this hill. As we're watching this video, it was kind of hard because there was a little group of people at the bottom of this hill. And they're laughing and pointing. And then there's the person using his phone to film this, right? And he's kind of doing like a running commentary as all this is happening. And I was thinking to myself right away, I'm like, why doesn't somebody do something? Why doesn't somebody do something to stop this from happening? It was completely in their power to stop that. There was a safe way to get up that hill without worrying about getting hit by a car, to get to the top of the hill and start flagging cars down and say, boy, don't go over the hill because they're piling up at the bottom, You could stop it from happening. While one person's doing that, another, but instead of using your phone as a camera, how about you use it as a phone and call the police and say, you got a real issue out here. Why don't you come and close this hill down and get the town crew out with some salt and sand to take care of this ice? But no, they just chose to stand at the bottom of the hill, point, laugh, and film it all happening. It's, again, just another sad commentary of what our society is becoming, And the real sad part of it, as I was watching this, is I'm completely convinced, 100% convinced, that none of those people in that group even thought about helping. I don't even think it crossed their minds that they could even do anything to help. They just chose to stand there, watch it happen. So as my son and I are watching this, I even asked him, I said, hey, what would you do in that circumstance? If you were at the bottom of the hill, what would you do? And luckily, he answered correctly, right? He goes, I think I'd go to the top of the hill and try to stop people from coming over the top, right? You know, it's just sad. It's just sad seeing these real basic ideas fall to the wayside, you know? And it goes from real simple things like holding doors open, pumping gas for somebody, helping somebody on the side of the road that maybe needs some help. Real small, almost insignificant things, but they lead to big things. Because if we don't help people, it leads to what happened just maybe like 2 months ago. I think there was a story that I think most of you have probably even heard, you know, where out east on a train, a woman was raped. And the people that were on that train with her, no one helped her. No one helped her, and one person even filmed it. You know, it's kind of like that example I gave you, those cars just sliding down the hill. You know, they just stand there and watch it happen and film it even, laugh. And this woman was being raped in this train, and all the passengers just chose to stand by, watch, don't take part in it, can't help. Maybe we'll film it. I mean, that's where it's going, right? And it's just getting worse and worse. It's pretty bad when we live in a society where people can stand by and watch a woman be raped and not step in to help. You know, and shortly after that story came out, there was a local news station that were just interviewing people on the street, and they were asking questions about that. And one of the questions, the interviewer asked one of the people on the street, they were like, what do you think of what happened? I mean, would you do something to help that woman? And the guy said, well, I don't think I'd want to get involved with that. What do you mean you don't want to get involved with that? If you're seeing a woman being assaulted like that, you do everything in your power to stop it. You know, and then the next person that news anchor asked on the street, what would you do? And the person said, well, I don't think I'd want to get involved, because what if that guy had a gun or a knife? You know, boy, I could get hurt. I listened to that interview, and it's just shocking. It's just like, okay, you're worried about getting hurt, but it's okay to let that woman be raped right in front of you. It's just sad. It's just really, really sad what we're turning into. So, I don't know. I don't know what this is about. Maybe it was just a complain or get it off my chest, but I am curious, you know. Do you guys see this as well? I mean, do you think it's getting worse? Do you see it in your own communities? How do you feel about it? You know, maybe leave a comment in the description area down below. You can send me a private message if you like. I know a lot of people rather do that. But I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you think it's getting worse? Give me some examples that you've seen. It's just kind of depressing to see the nosedive that our society is taking right now. So if you like these type of videos, please hit that like and subscribe button. It just helps this channel grow, and I really appreciate it. And until next time, please stay safe out there. God bless.